Well, another Manchester derby has come and gone. Janusz Michallik is joining me for a quick reaction to this one. 4-1, it ends at home to Manchester City. A convincing win from the current Premier League leaders, which included a brace from Kevin De Bruyne. And Janusz, I suppose just looking at the match quickly, I mean, it really was a tale of two halves. After the first half, I thought, wow, we have a derby on our hands. It looks like Man United can actually, go toe-to-toe with City or at least have a fight back. But the second half, I think Manchester City really solidified why they are so far ahead of Man United.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that I was writing notes, watching the game, and like you, I thought it wasn't bad in the beginning for Manchester United, but I think it was just completely deceptive. I think what happened there, it just took Manchester City, a few minutes to figure things out in terms of how to play it, how to find the rhythm. I don't know if it was the system with Bruno Fernandes sort of playing number 9 and Pogba playing so high. The game was stretched. And I think that was because City, by not finding the rhythm right away, allowed the game to be a bit of a fight because they want to go forward, they want to establish that, and that opened up spaces. And I think that's why you saw Manchester United being somewhat successful. But it's not necessarily because they were good. It's because Manchester City didn't have control of that game. Manchester City completely dominated Manchester United at Old Trafford. And if we're honest here, they completely dominated Manchester United here. When you look at player for player, the quality, is there even a one player at Manchester United that would make starting 11 for Manchester City? I don't think there is one. You could slightly make a case for De Gea. I wouldn't. I still take Ederson. I think De Gea has been tremendous. If it wasn't for him, who knows what would United be, right? And he's been better after a season or two that was iffy. But still, not one player that that tells you everything, because it is a Manchester United team who somehow found itself fighting for the top 4, right? Even though they've dropped points in 4 of the last 6 games, and now they're even in trouble for that. So yeah, it looked today like a completely broken team.
Well, let's talk about Manchester United some more, because clearly there's not much to say about Manchester City. They did exactly what we expected them to do. But Man United, what were your thoughts, I suppose, on the lineup? A lot of talk about that. Some, big omissions. Of course, we've known that Rafael Varane wasn't available there. No Edison Cavani either. But the big one is no Cristiano Ronaldo either. We're hearing because of an injury. However, reports over here in the UK, are suggesting that there's something a bit more to his absence. What do you think, Janusz? And how worrying, I suppose, is this absence of Ronaldo for Man United and the current state?
Look, I think the small cynical part of me thinks that maybe there's some controversy behind it, or maybe it was meant to be. Maybe even if he was healthy, this wasn't a game for him, right? Because I don't think he changes anything here. I think we do have to agree that he comes to an age where he can't be playing all the time just because he's Cristiano Ronaldo. But look, the bottom line is, this club needs a complete overhaul. And I don't even want to start at the top. We know what's happening, lack of directions for so many years and all that, but it just needs an overhaul in terms of players. Young, hungry players that want to win at all costs, that even when the games like these come around where the quality is different, and that they're still fighting. There isn't a fight. There aren't leaders. Even Bruno Fernandes, you look at his body language in some games. Is he capable of moments of brilliance? Absolutely. But again, would you put him, would Pep Guardiola put him there over the Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne's of the world, Bernardo Silva's of the world? And I promise you he wouldn't. You know what I mean? So, Maguire, we've seen him go, Lindelof, Varane, to a degree, it's hard to tell still. But still to a degree, surplus to requirements for Real Madrid, right? Who are rebuilding themselves. And we can go on and on and on. And, okay, start with the Elangas of the world. But really, this was a team without a fight in a Manchester derby, where, the moment things went against them, with the exception of when they drew, and it was a wonderful goal. One moment for Manchester United where they reminded you of Manchester United, right? I mean, I didn't even get to Paul Pogba, who played a big role in that. And here's Pogba being taken off in what, 60, 61st minute, whatever the case is. So one thing I'll give Rangnick, regardless of where he is, if he's the right man or not, Alexis, right? I mean, he's not afraid to not have Cristiano Ronaldo for whatever reason. Those moments will come again. Paul Pogba coming off. And look at the substitutions, coming in. Marcus Rashford, no difference. I mean, in the center of the pitch, McTominay and Fred absolutely bypassed and without any impact whatsoever. So, look, I mean, Manchester City can do that to many, many teams. Yeah. They needed to refocus themselves, didn't they? I mean, they've dropped the points against Saints and Everton, and certainly Manchester United provided that refocus for them.
And we know that, not taking anything away from Manchester City, of course, they were brilliant for it, but looking at Manchester United defensively as well, they did make it quite easy for City, just really looking sloppy. And we know United have been looking good going forward, and that's been the small bright spot, I suppose. But at the back, Janusz, what to do? There's constant questions about Maguire. Lindelof had to come in there. You mentioned that as excited as everyone was to get someone experienced like Varane, he was surplus to requirements as well as at Madrid. And it's almost like you look on the bench, you see Eric Bailly, who probably could have come on, but then it's risky to keep him there because he doesn't stay fit as much or without an injury. What do they do about this back line, Janusz?
Well, at the moment, there's nothing you can do, right? I mean, you've got to believe in the players, find the right formation. I mean, Wan-Bissaka came on the scene. Remember when he first signed, he was wonderful. Now he's been off. I mean, the issues today on the right side of Manchester United were for all to see, right? I mean, with Grealish and Cancelo and Elanga struggle. He's a young player. From time to time, I saw a switch where Sancho went over there for a couple of minutes, but that didn't change. It was all on that side. And I remember people talking, oh, Mahrez has been quiet. Well, look what happens, right? I mean, you sort of penetrate, you set up the game in such ways that eventually all the good players will find a way. And that's what we saw, the focus on the left-hand side, then Manchester City switched to the right-hand side. But I think in general, when you look at the two center backs on all the goals, they just weren't good enough, were they? In Lindelof and Maguire. I mean, on just about every goal, they played a key part, and it wasn't in a good way, that's for sure. Does Varane change that? I still doubt it. I think, of course, if he was available, he would have been a bit, better player. Luke Shaw wasn't there, but look, the talk before was that Ruben Dias. How big of a miss is he going to be? I mean, he's a clear leader for Manchester City. He's sort of what Van Dijk was to Liverpool when he wasn't available, right? It's not just how good he is, but the leadership that he showed. And today you wouldn't know if Ruben Dias was even in at the club. So I just think that the deception was that for the longest time we didn't even think that Manchester United were going to be a top four. They sort of found their way in, and I almost wonder if it was because of the weakness of some of the other teams as well. And now that's even a reach because Arsenal put a pressure on them before the game, and there's even more pressure piled on right now. And as I've said, the Ronaldo situation, regardless of what happened, why he's not playing, that's a big issue. Cavani wants to leave, that's a big issue. Of course, I think you're going to see more and more players probably looking for a way out, even though they're they're the major reason why the team is where they are.
And finally, I suppose, just to sum it all up, does this kind of feel like, dare I say, a new low for Manchester United? Because we talked about the fact that in the last 25 minutes or so of the second half, there was just barely any fight back. Gary Neville, who was on commentary here in the UK, just labeled it disgraceful to see once again just nothing, no reaction. The questions around Ronaldo, the questions around Cavani, the questions around the back line, and then now they're sitting outside the top four. We just spoke earlier about how Arsenal are actually looking like they're on the up, and now they are in the top four. So is this a new low for Man United of sorts?
It is. I mean, it's a derby. It's the whole situation of the fourth spot in Arsenal, everything. But what's amazing to me is that I don't know of many people that have an incredible assets on their hands and are not willing or don't know how to fix it. That's incredible. If you look at it in the business world, I mean, there are certain, there's certain companies that are known worldwide. Manchester United is one of those companies, right? I mean, it's I always laugh, like, we call Kleenex everything, right? Name Kleenex is big, and we name everything, even though all the companies make it, and Coca-Cola, soda, it's, so I could go on and on and on. And Manchester United, for many years, were always the biggest, the most global club in the world, and they still are. We can argue if it's Real Madrid first or Manchester United second. When you look around the world, everybody knows Manchester United, and they have millions and millions and millions of fans. And ever since 2012, was it Sir Alex Ferguson? They've made it worse and worse. It doesn't get any better. Everybody has that little bit of a lull, right? Arsenal come to mind after Arsene Wenger, but you can see that Arteta, at the very least, you see that progress. Young, hungry players, right? Starting to gel a little bit. There have been changes at the board level at Arsenal as well. They've had similar problems, but it seems, at least for now, that you can visually see the plan and the progress. Barcelona, look at this, overnight, just the leadership. I don't know if it's Xavi or not, but this was a club that just lost Leo Messi, right, and have had all kinds of financial problems. And yet, somehow, with a one or two decent decisions, they seem to be getting players now where almost overnight they're getting better, right? And there's maybe a little bit of a plan where that identity, they desperately want to hold on to it, even though it's hard. I'm not saying that Barcelona are going to be this greatest club, but you see the light at the end of the tunnel. With Manchester United, there's never seemed to be a case like that. Maybe the light shows up a little bit, but it goes sideways. And that, to me, is a complete lack of leadership at the board level and on the pitch.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.